All right, we actually have a huge bonus here in the game three for Zan Syed versus Edmond Chiu. This is the feature match that I wanted to see, hoping that Ruby Amethyst is able to take it. So, according to Brendan and Brandon, Edmond won game one on the play. Zan won game two on the play, and now we're on game three with Edmond being the one on the play since he was the higher seed. So we will see what ends up transpiring here for game three. They're just going through their mulligans now. I believe Edmond is deciding to put back five, keeping two. Oh, that's my little girl there. Okay. I'm just. There you go. So Zan's opening hand here. Oh. Oh, it looks like Zan was actually able to. Never mind. So I think the commentators were wrong then, or maybe I misheard them. So it looks like Ed lost game one on the play, and Ed won game two on the play, and now Zan going first for game three. Has the Diablo 1, but it doesn't look like he has Diablo 2. He does have a couple of good actions, and he does have that Pete, but no Diablo shift. Ed here, able to start with the Diablo on 1. The purple Diablo. We have two purple 1-drop Diablos. This one obviously being the better version here now. We know Zan is wanting to get to that Diablo shift line as quickly as possible here. And I think Ed will be very happy to see that that is not going to happen. Instead, we've got a Calhoun that will check the Diablo from questing. So that's why the Smee goes into the Inkwell here. Zan drew a Hypnotize for turn. Ed shuffling his hand weirdly there. Plays a Flynn, knowing that it's not going to get... Okay, never mind, because he has two Flynns. But I was going to say, it's definitely not going to be proccing with that 3-2 Calhoun on 3 coming in. But maybe a Sisu is going to be able to do some work here. Zan, the draws are letting him down right now, but that doesn't mean that he's out of the game by any means. These Petes not representing too much value just yet. Ed will be very happy, though, to see that two Petes are used here, one for the ink and one on turn 3. That doesn't really do too much. Zan doesn't quest in fear of the Madam Mim Fox interaction, of course. And Ed gets the big Sisu, or sorry, not big Sisu, the other small Sisu in the Emboldened Warrior here. But Zan will be able to answer the Flynn with the Let the Storm Rage on here. Get the cantrip. And he finds a I'm Still Here. I think that's the right name for it. I might be wrong. But it's the one that gives resist 2 and draws you a card. Zan still has all his ink available, so he might opt to just play the Hypnotize to get another cantrip, but that would be very suboptimal. But what else are you going to do on 3 right now? I think... You know, Ed is definitely feeling really good here because there's no Ursula Deceiver of All, there's no Diablo Shift. He does play the Hypnotize. I think you discard the Tremaine here for sure. Yep. And you get a draw. And Zan is just waiting to get to that Diablo. He's got a Sudden Chill, an Ursula Deceiver, and an I'm Still Here. A very underwhelming hand for Zan for game 3 here. Ed looking really strong because he does have that crab that can force the trade with the Diablo and then quest with the Sisu to force Calhoun to trade into it. But Zan might just empty his hand. So I don't even know if you want to quest with that Sisu. And he's got the rabbit, which is really good in this match. I don't want to get too hype. I really don't want Emerald Steel to win. Very interesting ink there on the Diablo, but I mean, I guess you keep the goat over the Diablo here, so he passes with 3 cards in hand. I didn't see what Zan drew for turn. It's a Prince John, which is actually really good because he can force the discard off of the Sudden Chill. I don't imagine he wants to sing that Sudden Chill with the Calhoun, though. No, Zan is going to rethink. He wants to check the discard. What's funny is the 4 like if Ed makes it to the finals, his deck is really tech to beat Ruby Sapphire. That's why like the 4 Tremaines are in the deck. Ed making a very, very aggressive, very good meta call, seeing what happened in Europe, with Ruby Sapphire being the most popular deck, probably just through testing, understanding that it is probably the strongest deck in the format, having the highest ceiling. But Ruby Amethyst being a natural counter, just amping up the counters with that 4 Tremaine, just absolutely devastating in the Ruby Sapphire matchups, securing his way to top 8, likely decimating a bunch of Ruby Sapphires along the way. Zan does indeed go for the Prince John and opts to hardcast the Sudden Chill by inking the I'm Still Here. Zan getting a draw. Did he only draw 1? Oh, sorry, no. He played Sudden Chill, not the I'm Still Here. Yeah, so he only draws 1 off the Prince John discard. Yes. I mean, Ed holding on to that big Sisu. I mean, that's a long ways away still, but he does have the rabbit. He was holding on to Uninkables. He's able to draw 2, right? Draw 1 for turn, draw 1 off rabbit, hoping to draw into more ink. He's on 5 now. He's 1 away from that Sisu shift. Never mind. What am I saying? Of course you keep that big Sisu. You have the Sisu shift line on board. Of course. The question is, can Zan force the double discard? I don't think he's on Lucifer. I think I may have mentioned that earlier in his other feature match. Zan seeing that big Sisu is just like, oh my gosh, that's not good. What can Zan do here? He's going to lose 3 out of his 4 characters. He's going to develop the second Calhoun, and he's just going to quest here because he's going to lose his board. Ed does have the ink and the shift. Zan, I think, is out of cards after he played that Calhoun. He might have 1 left in hand. He's got 1 ink available. He knows he's in a bad spot. Come on, Ed. Ed with the death stare right now. Ed feels it. He's waiting. He's waiting to drop that big Sisu. Zan knows it's coming. Ed's in a good spot. He's got that rabbit. He's got the crab. You know, these Calhouns will get cleaned up. A snake here is a good option. Ed opts to keep the snake hidden. Quest with only the Sisu here, I would think, to force the double interaction with the Calhoun if you... I mean, questing with crap here is probably not that bad either. I don't think you quest with the rabbit, though. Well, no, you definitely do not quest with rabbit. What am I saying? Because, yeah, the snake. You just drew snake. Holy crap, my brain. No, Zan did have a card in hand, so he's got 2 in hand now. And this big Sisu is threatening a lot. Ed is in a very strong position here. Oh, Zan's thinking here. He's like, oh my gosh. Do you double take out the Sisu? Or do you take out the crab and not do anything with the other one? I think he drew Merfolk there, which isn't great. Yep. Gain 2, go to 6, lose your board. Ed is very happy about that. There's the Diablo. And we know Ed is not on Genie or Elsa. He's got a turn to get some procs in with this rabbit, which he will definitely do here. Quest with rabbit, pay 2 for the snake, bounce the rabbit, draw a card, replay the rabbit. And now he's got to hope to find a brawl, one of which he knows he's inked. A brawl or another big Sisu. I guess technically a Be Prepared would also do some work here. I think that you do want to ink this turn because you might be forced to interact with this Merfolk anyways. And so you might be able to ink and play out your whole hand because your hand is low enough to the ground. The issue is you probably don't. No, he's going to opt to wait. You'd rather have more options to discard, I guess, when he challenges the Merfolk. But the option is the issue is you probably don't want to start cycling this rabbit with that Diablo being exerted. And then Zan also has to think, I can't leave this I can't quest with this Merfolk, because if he has another Tremaine, which you know he's playing 4, the Merfolk gets challenged and then the Tremaine comes in and blows up the Diablo. So he just quests with the Diablo here, hoping that he's going to be able to outgrind, which is not going to happen against the Ruby Amethyst player, because Zan's deck is very low to the ground, and as soon as Edmond starts to develop those big threats, Zan's going to have a really tough time trying to deal with it. So this is interesting, because your fox interaction is limited. You can take out the cove with the crab and the snake, so you don't even need the fox to take out the cove. You have no way of interacting with this Diablo on Zan's side of the board here, so you might just be opting to race now. You probably don't bounce. No, you definitely don't bounce rabbit here. I wouldn't think. But Ed is obviously in a very... Okay, he's going to opt to do it. And then use the fox interaction to take out the cove this way, using the 2 and the 4, giving his opponent a draw 1. So Zan drawing 2 off this Diablo. And then quest for 2, most likely. Ed not playing afraid of the Diablo like I probably would be. But then again, I would be on Elsa's. And no other Ruby Amethyst list made it. Edward is in such... I don't know why I keep calling him Edward. Edmond is in such a good position to make it to the finals and win the whole thing as a Ruby Amethyst, which would be absolutely poetic to have Ruby Amethyst take both EU and NA. I was hoping for it. I said that in my deck profile. Ink the friends, play out the library, move... not move, play out the broom, and pass with 2 cards in hand, one of which being a rabbit. Zan will now be on 3 cards. No more cove. Ed, most likely knowing that there's very limited options for Zan to even draw here. But Zan getting a lot of good mileage out of that Diablo right now. Be prepared, a brawl, or another big Sisu would be a good answer to the Diablos. But you're going to force Zan to go wide here. Zan's going to take a peek. See double rabbits. Zan actually likes to see that, because he's going to say, go ahead and play those rabbits. I will be very happy to draw more cards off my Diablo. But the issue remains that Ed's board is just stronger than Zan's. And Zan can't afford to quest. I mean, he can quest with the Merfolk now because he has the Ursula. And Ed is not on enough ink to go Brawl and Tremaine. And now he knows, obviously, that Zan knows that Ed has the double rabbits. So I don't know what's in Zan's hand here, but the Let the Storm Rage On is sang by the Diablo here. Yeah, the quest with the Merfolk, because again, you know the limited interactions that your opponent would have to not out your Diablo here. Zan's going to pay 2 for what, a Mr. Smee? Nope, a Tamago. I don't think I've even seen Zan play that yet. But not having anything damaged on the board, he is going to pass with that evasive threat on board. And Zan, I think, is going to try to race at this point. No Prince John, so Ed can comfortably take out that Merfolk and discard without having to worry. He does indeed play the rabbit, giving Zan more gas. He does gain 1 off that library, so... Oh my, he's giving Zan even more draws. Challenge, take out one of the... Discard one of the rabbits, probably. Because you're going to ink one of these 1-drops and play one of these 1-drops. Quest with the fox that he played last turn. And with everything else. Ed goes to 12, being in the driver's seat. Zan only having 3 questing pressure on board. Zan is on 5 ink. He values the Chernobog over the Diablo here, which is very interesting. I'm not sure why you would value the Chernobog here over the Diablo. I would think Diablo is maybe a little bit better because if your opponent banishes it during your turn, you draw, and your opponent does not draw off their Diablo. Zan's hand now looking very healthy. The Diablo definitely being the card that got him back into this game. Ed hoping that his wider board is going to be enough to see him through to 20 before his opponent is going to be able to answer all of these threats. Zan still not seeing any Ursula Deceiver of all, but at this point it probably would be too slow. What's interesting is he does have that I'm Still Here song that will give resist +2. But again, as I've mentioned in previous videos, that does not protect against the Brawl, does not protect against the Sisu wipe, or a Be Prepared. I think Zan is trying to consider how wide can I go. He doesn't have a Be Prepared last turn. He drew a couple of cards, giving me a couple of cards in that process. What is the right play? Can he afford to try to race? I think he loses that race because of the location as well. Zan just does not have the firepower to deal with that library. And what's even more powerful is the library is an excellent counter, because if Zan is forced to interact with Ed's board, if he is going to be able to move cards to that library and banish them, Ed will draw during Zan's turn, which means the Diablo doesn't trigger. The Muses here is decent, but everything on the board except for that Chernobog is more than 2 strength. So again, the Muses, where it was really powerful in Zan's match into the Emerald Amethyst deck that he faced, not so great now. What would be actually really strong for Zan here would have been a Prince John, which he is playing 4 of, because he does have that Sudden Chill and that Hypnotize. But Zan just not seeing the cards he needs at the right time. But the Diablo definitely got him back into this game, where it looked like a complete blowout. Zan going wide here, not fearing the second copy of Big Sisu that he knows is in Ed's deck. Again, the odds are very unlikely that Ed would have drawn into that card. But Ed is on 4 Be Prepareds as well. I guess Zan is saying, if you want to play your Be Prepared, go ahead. But Ed also has that library as well, and he can move cards to it and then be prepared. The synergy with this stuff is really, really strong. He's going to quest for 2. Going to 11. He can't quest with anything else because I believe he played all these other interactions. Maybe he didn't play maybe he played the Ursula last turn. Yeah, he played the Ursula last turn. That's right. So he's debating if he should quest with the Ursula 2 now. Again, the Diablo and the Tamago both have evasive, so they are protected from being challenged back with what's on Ed's board right now. This game is not over, even though it looked like Ed was in a very good position. Those draws off that Diablo definitely has given Zan a couple of potential options here. Is he going to sing the Sudden Chill? No, he quests instead, going to 12. Ed gains 1 off of the library, going to 13. Ed has 7 ink. Zan draws for turn, which is the 1-drop Diablo there. Zan is threatening 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lore on board with what he has, which would put him up to 18, I believe. Ed will force one of those lures out. Zan will banish. Why wouldn't you challenge the Ursula first, Ed? Ed is shaking. Yeah, why wouldn't... Okay, you're just going to quest instead. I mean, that's fine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He goes to 18. Pays 1 to move both characters to the library. And Ed is in the driver's seat here. I'm hoping for you, Ed. I'm rooting for you, man. I mean, I love Zan too, but I just can't support Emerald Steel. I don't think anybody likes playing against Emerald Steel. And Ed knows if he makes it to the final, he has a very good chance of winning the whole thing with his deck going up against that Ruby Sapphire in the finals. Holy moly. Zan is going to be running some numbers, knowing that if he cannot win this turn, Ed will win next turn, and Zan does not have the firepower to combat Ed's board. Zan put up a good show, but once again, Emerald Steel, in my opinion, losing to itself, not getting the powerful turn 2 Diablo shift, not setting up the Deceiver of All, falling prey to Ruby Amethyst. Ed looking to the heavens saying, please, don't have the answer. And to be honest, I do not think Zan will have the answer. He's shaking his head here, knowing that there is not much he can do. He's going to Hail Mary pitch his hand with the dock. I don't know what you can draw here, Zan, to get you out of this. I don't think you have anything in your deck. Ed, once again, with the Death Stare, laser focused on Zan's mannerisms and how he is reacting to every little thing in this match. We're going to see the handshake, the hand extended by Zan, I'm pretty sure, very soon. Ed's like, oh my god, why are you playing this out? Please, just scoop. Please. Okay, so he was at 12. I think he's at 14, 15 now. And then he can go to 16 with the Diablo, 17 with the Merfolk. He has no way to gain instantaneous lore. I think he's showing what he's got. And the hand is extended. Zan, you put up a good fight. Ed, with the huge sigh of relief. I don't think there was any way, even off the Tamago, there was going to... Yeah, because I don't know how many Tamagos Zan is on, but Ed making it to the finals. Here we go.